shooting star. The engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's a dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns, feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Fernando calls the play on NFR. Every race day, commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Now Fernando calls the play on NFR at race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Deaf Queen, the top supporter scene. In the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see. Speed demons burning up at SKR, the league we love. Sunday at 6, engines flare up, adrenaline shove. Tight turns, the smell of gas, tires screeching loud. Thrill on the track, every driver make the crowd proud. Racers gunning for the top, no room for any slack. Pit stop strategies, teams got each other's backs. One wrong move, dreams could crash, a season turn to dust. Victory tastes sweeter when the stakes are a must. Rev up, SKR brings the drama. Highs and lows, no place for the comma. Checker flag wave, dreams come alive. Sunday at 6, see the legends thrive. Dashes, wheel-to-wheel clashes, cold sweat under helmets, pressure till it smashes. Race by race unfolding like a thriller on screen. F1 kings and queens chase that victory sheen. Rivalries ignite, sparking flames on asphalt. Pushing limits, no regret, not a single halt. Missteps and miracles, heartbeat sequence speed. SKR battles fused with passion and greed. Rev up, SKR brings the drama. Highs and lows, no place for the comma. Checker flag wave, dreams come alive. Sunday at 6, see the legends thrive. Rev up, SKR brings the drama. Highs and lows, no place for the comma. Checker flag wave, dreams come alive. Sunday at 6, see the legends thrive. Let me spin you a tale about a race car driver, George Russell by name. He's quick on the track, but don't get too excited, cause when it comes to greatness, well, he's not quite knighted. He's good, but not that great. Oh, George, oh, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fate, oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. He's got the helmet, he's got the car, but when it comes to win, he's not quite up to par. He's got the look like Woody with a cowboy hat, but when he's in the pit, you'll see him shed a tear stack. Now don't get me wrong, he's got some skill, but when you're talking about the best, he's not in that mill. He'll race you hard, give you quite the fright, but in the end, he's more known for his tears at night. He's good, but not that great, oh George, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fate, oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run. He's good, but not that great, oh George, oh George. He's got the speed, but not the fate, oh George, oh George. He looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run.
In the quiet lanes of Silverstone town, folks are whispering about a boy falling down. Got a seat from his daddy, money's the king. Driving that Williams ain't like riding free. Tires spin, engines roar, but the podium's far. His wheels hit the gravel, now there's damage to the car. Got the world at his feet, yet he fumbles the lead. His dreams race away, but he's not in the speed. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name that can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Now he's got his own team with a famous name. Aston Martin's the brand, but it's still the same shame. Every corner, every turn, the crashes unfold. Dreams wrapped in carbon fiber, truth left untold. Paddock folks shake their heads with a sigh as the green car spins and the hopes run dry. No matter the funds, it's a harsh game of pain. $1 million toys can't shelter the rain. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill.
along at the back of the pack. Fans yelling, mate, where's your pace at? Year after year, you'd smile through the pain, dreaming of glory, but stuck in the slow lane. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Now here comes 2025. McLaren's car is straight up alive. Lando's grinning, he's topping the charts, screaming, this beast's got a million parts. But wait a sec, who's that in the other seat? Some Aussie kid who's bringing the heat. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Oscar's new, but he's stealing the show, passing Lando like, mate, let's go. Lando's like, I waited years for this ride. Oscar shrugs, cool story, now step aside. Team radio crackles, Lando behave, but Oscar's too busy catching that wave. Poor Lando thought he'd rule the track, but Oscar's out there, no looking back. Fans love the kid with the cheeky grin. Lando's like, when's my parade gonna begin? Still their mates, they laugh, they jest. McLaren's got two and they're both the best. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. So here's to Lando, still chasing that crown, and Oscar the rookie who's shaking it down. Two fast mates in a papaya dream. McLaren's laughing, what a chaotic team. Oh, Lando, Oscar's got your number made.
Daddy bought him a seat at Williams, hoping his boy would make him proud. But every turn was filled with slip-ups in a sea of screaming crowds. The wheels would spin, the dream would fade. Another crash, another frown. He couldn't keep up with the legends, always letting his team down. Oh, Lance, he's living on a prayer, with Daddy's money everywhere. But buying dreams ain't buying skill. He's crashing hard round every hill. When the axe came down and hope seemed lost, Dad bought Aston, spare no cost. Another chance, another goal, but he's still spinning out so slow. He hits the walls, he finds the grass, breaking hopes with every pass. He's got the power, got the name, but all he brings is crashing shame. On the grid he's just a shadow of the heroes racing past. No amount of cash can save him from a future that's fading fast. Oh, Lance, he's living on a prayer, with Daddy's money down and hope seemed lost. Dad bought Aston, spared no cost. Another chance, another goal, but he's still spinning out so slow. He hits the walls, he finds the grass, breaking hopes with every pass. He's got the power, got the name, but all he brings is crash and shame. On the grid, he's just a shadow of the heroes racing past. No amount of cash can save him from a future that's fading fast.
Max the Maverick.
He rolls to the grid, eyes sharp as a blade. A storm in the cockpit, never afraid. Teammates tremble, they can't keep pace. Max takes the wheel, owns every race. From car to crown, he carved his way. A predator born to slay the day. The records fall, the doubters fade. A legend's forged, the price is paid.
Max Verstappen, king of the fight, burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with a mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. Bends the rules, rewrites the lines. Max Verstappen, hear the roar. The champ who always begs for more. Our bond, they tried their best, but Max just laughs, aces the test. He dances through corners, a devil's art, tears up the field, rips it apart. Red Bull's wings, they used to soar. Now it's Max who evens the score. The car's not prime, the rivals grin, but he still finds a way to win. Max Verstappen, king of the fight, burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with a mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. Bends the rules, rewrites the lines. Max Verstappen, hear the roar. The champ who always begs for more. Monaco streets, Silverstone rain. He turns the chaos into his gain. A lion's soul, a warrior's creed. Speed's his drug, it's all he needs. They build the walls, he breaks them down. Three-time king still wears the crown. Max Verstappen, king of the fight, burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with the mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. Bends the rules, rewrites the lines. Max Verstappen, hear the roar. The champ who always begs for more. So raise the flag, let the anthem play. Max the Maverick rules the day. Through grit and guile, he's here to stay. A racing god in every way.
Lando in the cockpit, heartbeats loud, chasing dreams under pressure, lost in the crowd. Corner two, shots spun out wide and free. Championship slipped like sand into the sea. On the chicane, caught him slow on the twist. A second's hesitation, victory missed. Green in spot, he slid off the track. Fans gasping as the sky turned black. Pressure breakdown,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to NFR. Welcome back to SKR on a Sunday evening. It's the Miami Grand Prix before the Miami Grand Prix. Of course, tonight a sprint race, so we're getting on with qualifying in the quickest way we know how. It's just a one-shot quali. Not really something easy to commentate on. Everybody just has one lap, no warm-up lap, no cool-down lap, just one quick lap for everybody to get around, set their best lap time, and then you can get a good idea of who is in front, who's the favorite for pole position, by just looking at that leaderboard. So the name on top, that's the man quickest on track at the moment. And if the checkered flag were to fall at that moment, that would be the driver on pole. So currently it's McLaren, Red Bull, Williams. But those are constantly changing from corner to corner. This is the man at the front, favourite for pole at the moment. He's been in front throughout the lap. Doesn't look like anybody's been able to beat him in any sort of sector, because that name's just stayed P1 throughout. Of course, then we're going to get straight into a sprint race around the streets. Can you really call it the streets? It's more of a massive parking lot. And there's the music. I keep on forgetting. So there's your results for qualifying real quick. Weeze pole position, Jonas P2, no surprises there. JP P3, then we've got Uno P4, Skull P5, Lebby P6. He's followed by Smurf, Top Gun, Harsh Cartoon, and Pantry Star making up the top 10. We've got Spikes, Andre Dispatcher, Revolution, Sugar Bear, Osman, Lord Cypher, Martin, The Doc, and Mamonga making up the field. Of course, now we look at the empty pit lane. This is now time for those to lock in their strategies. Of course, not much in the way of strategy when it comes to a sprint race. Ideally, if everything goes well, you're not going to make any visits to the pits. You're going to finish the race on the same tyre you started on. Really just depends. Are you going to go with the medium? Can you possibly stretch that soft? I think it's either going to be mediums or hards. I don't think the soft is going to be too much of a smart choice. You might have a lot of pace early on, but that pace might fall off awfully quickly. Should be away now for a formation lap. We'll get the dual green lights, and there they are. Gives us another opportunity to go through this order. Weeze, Pulp, Jonas, P2. Comments were saying those were the two favourites for pole position. Welder P1 and 2, so no surprises there. Got JP in P3. I think that's a new name for me at least. Then Uno in P4, Skull P5. Levy in P6, he's followed by Smurf. Then the first of the two RBs, Top Gun P8, Harsh Cartoon P9, second of the two Red Bulls. And Pantry Star making up the top 10. Remember, top 10 don't get the points in a sprint race, it's only the top 8 and it's reduced points. No 25 points for a victory, just the 8 points for a victory. It's really a good little way of picking up some bonus points. Look at the Drivers' Championship. Weeze leads the way, 158 points. And then Jonas in P2 on 114 points. So it is quite the lead for now. But all it takes is one mistake. All it takes is one dramatic moment. And the man with the large advantage can suddenly fall out of the race, and that 25-point swing can make things look very, very different. What are you on about? Boinkies, what are you talking about? Verstappen P1, Yuki P3, Alonso P2. I don't know what he's talking about. This is Boinkies in his own little language in the comment section. Now coming to the end of that formation lap, you can see a bunch of cars at the back getting disqualified. Osmond, Cypher, Martin, the Doc. Those are either cars that left the race circuit or made some sort of contact during the formation lap. They would have been sent back to their boxes, so they've been sitting there for quite some time. And now we wait for the 5 red lights, 4 of them, 5 of them, and when they go out, we'll be underway. It's going to be a McLaren versus an Aston Martin versus a Red Bull into turn 1. More importantly, who comes out of turn 1 in the lead? It's going to be Weeze from Jonas from JP in the order they started. Uno P4, Skull P5, no one in the top 5 making up or losing any positions. Then you got Smurf in P6, Levy P7, Top Gun P8, he's made his way up into the points. Then Harsh Cartoon P9 and Spikes making up the top 10. Just outside the top 10 you got the pair of horses, Pantry Star P11, Sugar Bear P12. Got Dispatcher 13 for Mercedes, Andre 14 for Williams, then the Doc, Mamonga. He's actually just made up a position, was going to say he's in 16th, he's actually up into 15th, then Revolution 17, Osman 18, Cypher 19, and at the rear of the field, Martin. At the front, Weeze leads the way. And it seems like he knows something others don't. The gap is 9/10 of a second. The man in P2 is Jonas. It's the man that can chase him. That is the man that can match him. But he's got to stay within DRS because things can become so much more difficult. We know DRS on this game can be overpowered. So even if that opponent's got the pace advantage on you lap after lap, just being within his DRS neutralizes that advantage and gives you the ability to follow him. Where in a normal situation he's going down the road. But that gap was very, very close to breaking out of DRS, but Jonas has pulled it back in. The gap 6/10 of a second, then a further 4/10 back to JP. And these three have broken away quite cleanly. Lap 2, look at this, lap 2, and there's already a gap of 2.5 seconds between the top 3 and the rest of the field. Weeze from Jonas from JP. Then there's a bit of a gap. Uno leads, a bit of a DRS train. Skull looking to get into P4. He's been in that P5 since the start of the race, but no longer. Makes up a position, goes up into P4. Let's bring up some data for everyone at home to get a better idea of who's doing what. Everybody in the field going for the medium compound, so nobody going for something different. Everybody going for something safe. There we go, Boinkies. Actually just brought up the tyres, and then I looked back at my screen and saw you were asking for it. So good timing. Weeze from JP from Jonas. Skull P4. Now Jonas must have made some sort of a mistake that we did not see. Of course there was a battle by the top 3 drivers and they had broken away from the rest of the field. Now it's Weeze and JP that are up the road from the rest of the field. Jonas, he's down the road in P3 and coming under pressure from Skull. So there must have been an incident up the road. Do we see any damage on the Aston Martin? I think that car's got both of its end plates. Yes, it does. I wonder if he maybe just left the circuit. Everybody on the medium compound. And of course, in a sprint race, the intention is not to pit. Of course, we don't see. Let's go on board. There we go. Look up towards the skies. I don't think there's any threat of rain, at least for the sprint race. Visor, welcome to the chat. Good to have you. Of course, some call this the Monaco of the USA. Well, you'll get to see the real thing at 10 PM later this evening. Monaco earlier this afternoon. If you watch the Formula E, the Monaco E3 using the same layout as the Formula 1 cars do. And Formula E just proving that overtakes are not only possible in Monaco, they can be plentiful in Monaco. Just shows that maybe the track is not the problem. And it's the size of these cars. Look at that, we've just joined JP at a very bad time. That's the chicane, in sector 3. It's a tight one, it's a blind one. And he's just missed it completely, found himself on the outside barrier. And the man that was applying pressure to Weeze is now all the way down in P12, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Red Bull has damage. Let's go back to that Red Bull, see if we can get a better look at it. Well, wondering if it has damage. Don't need much more confirmation than that. No end plate missing. The entire wing is missing, so JP's going to have to come into the pits. And that's going to send him right to the rear of the field in this sprint race. Of course, a full field here tonight. So good to see 20 drivers in the field. Andre also in the pits. Something not going right for the Williams driver. Maybe he got caught up in an incident that happened in front of him, whatever the case may be. JP into the pits, Andre into the pits. We know why JP's there. Not quite sure what happened in Andre's race. Weeze still leads, comfortable gap, 3 seconds. Initially it was a battle of 3 cars. It was Weeze, it was JP, and it was Jonas. Jonas fell off the pack, made a mistake. And then we all saw what happened to JP moments ago. Now the last man standing there at the front is Weeze. He was under pressure. He's not under pressure anymore. 3.1 seconds. He has the track all to himself. And now he's just got to keep it pointing in the right direction. Wanky's asking Visor why Visor is not on the racetrack this evening, saying he's simply too quick for this field. So if you are one of the drivers driving, listening to this in the background, remember that Visor said he's too quick for this field. This is the driver in P4, this is Skull. Driver that's getting quicker and quicker from weekend to weekend. Finding himself higher up the order. And the names he's fighting with are pretty impressive. This is Levy. One of the two Ferrari drivers, his teammate out of the points down in P15, that's Osman. This should be a good result for the Ferrari podium position. Of course, JP looked like he would be taking that podium position, but he has since fallen out of the race. He's down in P18. We haven't had any retirements. We've had hardly any yellow flags, no safety cars, very clean race up until this point, which is impressive because remember, we're in Miami. Well, Boinky's asking Death Queen why she's not racing. Why do you think she's so quiet in the comment section? She is racing. I'm pretty sure Death Queen is the driver in P19 under a undercover name. If she doesn't say something in the next couple of minutes, you know I'm right. JP sets the fastest lap of the race. And that'll just burn him up inside. He knows he had the pace. He knows he had the pace to be a contender in this race. Now he's setting fastest laps, but that's also because he's one of the only drivers on a set of softs. And the car will be pretty light at this stage. Not quite sure how Death Queen is typing from the steering wheel, but she's doing it from P19 in the comment section. Multitasking. Still Wheeze out front, 3.3 seconds. He hasn't continued to extend that gap. Seems like Jonas has been able to match his pace because the gap has stayed at 3.2, 3.3. But unfortunately for us, the gap's a little bit too big to see any racing between the top two. The racing we can look at is the racing for P3. Yeah, Visor, that would probably explain it. I was thinking, how is Death Queen talking from the car? Well, Death Queen is undercover as Andre in the car, and Andre is in the comment section undercover as Death Queen. Pure brilliance. Master plan uncovered, right here on NFR. This is Wheeze out front. I said he wasn't extending the gap. Maybe he's listening in the background because he's responded 3.9 seconds. It's gone on to find half a second since the last time we were looking at that car. Battle here, the main battle is for P3. P1 looks pretty certain if the car can stay point right direction, as is with P2. But P3 is far from decided. It's Uno, Lebby, Skull, all of those cars in contention, as well as Smurf, Spikes. It's all a DRS train. One car makes a mistake in that DRS train, it could lead to a domino effect. I'm just getting confused now. I don't know if Death Queen is supporting herself or if Andre is supporting himself, or I can't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago. I don't know which one's which. But either way, something's not right. 3.9 seconds. P1 to P2, Jonas, the driver in P2, he's got a 7.3 second gap down to the driver in third place. And now Uno, just starting to believe. He's getting closer and closer to breaking DRS from Lebby. But he can't be comfortable yet in his sort of mistake, and that Ferrari is going to be right on his rear wing. Do have a caution. Have a quick look up and down the field, and there's the reason why it's too late in the race to trigger anything. But JP has had enough of this, And JP retires from the race. There was no points on the card anyway for him. And he'll start getting his mind ready for the feature event. Spike's also now retiring from the race. That's more significant because he was in the points. And to retire at such a late stage, dropping points, with really just a few kilometers to go, it's gotta hurt. Fernando is not Shaw. Fantastic. Could have told you that a long time ago. My own parents would tell you I'm not Shaw. Weeze leads 4.1 seconds is the gap. Then a further 8.2 down to Levy, who has taken that P3. I said could start getting comfortable, but he had to keep his eyes on his mirrors. One mistake could take it away. And Levy has made the most of it. And if he could be the best of the rest, when those are the two ahead of him, he'd be pretty happy with that. Williams thought of going late. Just saw the nose peeking out ever so slightly. The checkered flag has fallen for the top two. Weeze and Jonas is the order. And Levy, Skull and Smurf follow over. All very close together. They're in the midfield. P7, P8, all the points finishers have come over the line. And that is 10 laps of sprint action. Still waiting for a few cars at the rear of the field to come over the line. There's Andre over the line. A race he'd like to forget. Hopefully prefer to be in the points for that feature race. So that's one of the benefits of a sprint race. This is all just about a few bonus points. If you get it wrong, it can teach you a few lessons going into that main event. Mamonga will get the driver of the day for the sprint race. Let's see if we can get through these results real quick. Weeze takes the victory, 8 points. Jonas P2, Levy P3, then Skull, Smurf, Pantry Star, and Mamonga make up your points finishers. No points, but they'll have a second go at it. Top Gun P9, he's followed by Sugar Bear, Dispatcher, Martin, Osman, Harsh Cartoon, Revolution, Cypher, Andre, The Doc, and the two retirements, Spikes and JP, very late on in the race. And will you look at that? I almost don't know what to say. I don't know if you can hear it there at home, but I'm smiling. Does it sound like I'm smiling through my voice? Yes, I'm smiling. It's raining in Miami, and this adds a bit of spice. This adds a bit of spice to the recipe. What was already going to be a very interesting race around one of the quicker street circuits in the world. Well, it just got a little bit more interesting. Boinky says, here comes the rain. Death Queen says, oh hell. Visor says, well, that's the delay on the stream. Everybody just saw the rain screen that I saw about 20 seconds ago. Visor says yes. Boinky says yes. So, mixed emotions in the commentary box. Wonder how the drivers are feeling. in their particular cars. Of course, some of these drivers will prefer these conditions, others they'll prefer the dry. But remember, this is just one lap quali, so we might see a situation by where we get to the start of the race, could be dry again. Rain can sometimes be a bit of an equalizer. Guys that are really quick in the dry, maybe they're not as quick in the wet. They might be lower down the field than you expect to see them. That is not the case for Wheeze and Jonas. Currently the drivers in P1 and 2, those are Jonas and Wheeze. Driver who was in P3 for that sprint race. Well, he's down in P10 at the moment. That's what I say about the rain. Drivers who are quick in the dry are not always necessarily quick in the wet. Depends how they divide their practice time. But you can see Wheeze and Jonas operating under all conditions. Boinky's asking for Afrikaans commentary. Just don't think that's going to be a possibility. Even as co-commentator, do you really just want me going, what? 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 Because that's what my commentary will become. The Afrikaans commentator will go on a monologue for approximately 5 minutes, and my entire contribution will be, what? Unless I want to bring Boinkies on this channel. I could just bring Boinkies on this channel. Well, we've got the pole position for the sprint race. It's gone the other way for the feature race. Jonas takes pole position for your feature race, 136.2. Then quite the gap, half a second. Weeze in P2. Skull P3, best of the rest. Lebby P4, P5, Mamonga P6. And you got JP P7, Pantry Star P8, Spikes P9, and Smurf makes up the top 10. Out of the top 10 with a bit of work to do, Dispatcher 11, Top Gun 12, Sugar Bear 13, Osman 14, Revolution 15, Harsh Cartoon 16, Cypher 17, Andre 18, Martin 19. And now I'm going to have to think of who was at the back. Making up the field was the Doc, I believe. Asking for an Afrikaans co-commentator. I don't know how that's going to work. I'll have Boinky Senior, but I don't know if I want him speaking Afrikaans because I'm not going to know what's going on. Visor saying, Harsh Cartoon, no man. What has Harsh Cartoon done to displease Visor? I'm not sure what's happened, but he's saying no man. There we go. He's saying no because of the weather. I think everybody got awfully excited at the start of the qualifying session, thought that was going to be the start of the race. And now we see the dry weather back. It was just a touch of wet, just to complicate things in quali. But now we're back to normality. course, just a bit of a pause. Drivers making sure to lock in the correct strategy. Of course, what tyres they'll be starting on and what they intend to do in this race. Do they intend to get a blistering start, stop early on in the race, or go for the long haul, start on the hards? All will be revealed. Of course, that's where we are now. Miami, it's a sprint race. Next week we'll be going to Interlagos. Of course, we follow the calendar where possible, and where there isn't a race, well, we fill it in with something else. So tonight is Miami. We'll be doing Miami. Next week there's no race, so we'll go to Interlagos. We're off for our formation lap. I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Of course, if you're familiar with this Miami circuit, you'll be familiar with the fake marina. Miami, the home to the most ridiculous thing in Formula One, the fake marina. Well, now it's also home to the craziest F1 contract I've ever seen. If you haven't been in the F1 news of late, Miami have extended their contract with Formula One. For most circuits in Europe, they'll get a 2-year, 3-year extension. We see the big extensions out of the Middle East, with countries like Bahrain, Saudi Arabia signing 10-year contracts. Well, I've never seen something like this. Miami have secured their Grand Prix till the year 2041. That's right, 2041. The Miami Grand Prix might outlive us all. There you can see the Doc disqualified, so he got sent back to his pit box, so he's had to be sitting there patiently, waiting for everybody to get back around. Now he's going to wait for everybody to park up. This still feels like an awfully long time, trust me, especially if you're one of the cars at the front of the field, or if you're one of the cars that got disqualified. You're thinking, come on, let's get on with this. Get the 5 red lights. When they go out, we will be underway. This time it's going to be a reverse of fortunes. Last time it was Weeze ahead of Jonas into turn 1. This time it's Jonas ahead of Weeze, but Weeze has got a fantastic start. And he's turned those qualifying results around immediately. Weeze into turn 1 first, out of turn 1 first. Jonas P2, Skull P3, Uno P4. Weeze leads the way from Jonas. Skull P3. Guys are asking me about the incident on today's hill climb. Fortunately, I'm not aware of the incident, I have to be honest. It's been very off the internet today, so let me know if you can. Let me know some details. What happened exactly. Weeze leads the way, 0.2 of a second. Skull right there, 0.3 of a second adrift in P3. Now Skull will know from the past, he can keep up with these guys, he can keep up with Jonas, he can keep up with Weeze if he stays within their DRS. If he stays within their DRS, he's able to stay there. Let's bring up the tyre screen. It may give us a better indication of why certain drivers are getting better starts than others, and there you go. Skull went on the medium compound, 2 drivers ahead, the 2 quickest drivers on the track. Wheeze and Jonas, they've gone for the hard compound. So they're going to come under the most amount of pressure over the next couple of laps. Well, they've got Skull and a few other handful of cars behind them on some superior mediums. But of course that benefit does start to fall away. Pointy's saying tyres, I brought them up, there we go, I brought them up before you could say anything. There are your possible race strategies, don't pay too much attention to those. The game, don't really know where the game gets those from, but most of the time they're completely wrong. Jonas from Wheeze, from Skull. I gave you that one fact. They've just signed until 2041. The longest F1 contract that I've ever heard of. Well, they're also, if you're a South African and you want to go abroad to watch a Formula 1 Grand Prix because you're tired of waiting for them to come here, well, from a Rand perspective, this would be the second most expensive Grand Prix to attend for a South African. So I don't really recommend Miami. In fact, if you're wondering what the top three are, Monaco's not in the top three of the most expensive Grand Prix to attend. All of the top three are right here in the USA. The order is Vegas, Miami, and Kota. Wheeze leads the way from Jonas. Skull still in P3, watching the action. He's got the best seat in the house to watch the two quickest drivers on the night going wheel to wheel. And he'll be sitting there knowing any sort of mistake from the drivers up the road. And he's in a very, very strong position. Let me know in the comment section, if you will, how is the sound quality, how is the visual quality. We have upgraded our capture card and we're using it for the first time tonight. So on my side everything looks like it's working the way it should. Just let me know on your side. Of course we also have a mic on the way. Well, we already have the mic. Now we have to get the proper plug for the mic. So that might take another few weeks. Wheeze leads the way from Jonas. P1 and 2, 4/10 of a second. Skull P3. This is lap 4. And it's good to see that on lap 4 these cars are still within DRS. They're still hanging on to each other. Can be quite disconcerting to see these cars spreading out too early on in the race. Remember, in that sprint race that we just had, we didn't have much in the way of incidents. We had 2 retirements, but they were very, very late on in the race. We had JP making a mistake right there in that section. You just saw the Haas coming through. Ran wide, hit the wall. That was the driver who was in P3 at the time, P2 at the time rather. His race went south from there, retired, as did, who was the other driver that retired? I think it was Spikes that retired. But we had no safety cars. We had a very, very clean race for the most part. Jonas over the line in P1 and the fastest lap of the race so far. It's exactly what he wants to be doing. What's unfortunate for these drivers, the drivers in the front, can be so frustrating. We've heard so much about how DRS on this game can be overpowered, and when you come to these street tracks, the street tracks with the long straights, with the excessive DRS zones, You can be quicker, but it just doesn't matter. You keep on towing your opponent around the race circuit. And whether you're able to be a tenth quicker, 2/10 quicker, 3/10 quicker, you just drag him along lap after lap. On some of the circuits on this calendar, they say DRS is worth 7/10 a lap. I think that was the stat for Saudi Arabia. If you're within DRS in Saudi Arabia, you can make up 7/10 a lap. Of course, at other circuits, at some circuits, it may not be as important. Circuits like Monaco, just the one DRS zone, and it's a very short straight with a bit of a kink in it. So it's not much of a DRS zone. But at circuits like Miami, Saudi Arabia, Las Vegas, all of these modern street circuits, so difficult to defend over a long period of time if you don't have far superior pace to everyone around you. While we're here, it's only lap 6 of 29, and there's quite a few of you in the comment section, so while we're here, give me your predictions for tonight, the real Miami Grand Prix. Who do you think is going to be the winner tonight? Of course, McLaren are the favourites, as they have been all season. Max took the pole, but will he be able to hold on to that position? And will Fernando Alonso eventually score points in 2025? Jonas still the driver out front. Speaking of Fernando Alonso, it's an Aston Martin out front. He's in P2. So Aston Martin went from scoring podiums with Fernando Alonso and looking very promising, being the slowest of the Mercedes powered cars. It's now Williams that is raising eyebrows with that Mercedes engine. Thank you, Visor, for the reminder. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoy this sort of content. Of course, we do this every Sunday at 6 PM. We also do it on a Monday at 8 PM. That is the League v League Championship. This league right here, SKR, does compete in the League v League Championship along with three other South African leagues, Fusion, 4QM8 and LSA, taking each other on every Monday night for supremacy amongst the South African leagues. And then of course on Tuesday night, 8 PM, following the calendar with SKR, so very similar calendars between Sunday and Tuesday. So if you enjoy what you're seeing here tonight, you're going to enjoy Tuesday just as much. And while Monday's a bit of a highlight. 4 leagues send 4 of their best for a 16 driver field, best of the best. And the league you're looking at currently leads that championship by quite some margin. Of course, if it's your first visit to the channel, or if you haven't subscribed in the past, remember to hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, more than I thought we'd ever get to. Jonas P1, Weeze P2, Uno P3, Skull in P4. Cars now starting to spread out. That's not the case at the front. 0.2 of a second between these two. We saw them match each other throughout the sprint race. In the feature race though, pit stops will be a factor. Could see a situation where the pit stops is what's going to separate these two, or we could see a situation where they just find each other on track again. right after the pit stops. Of course, they're on the same strategy, so they could very well come in on the same lap. Drivers from P1 all the way down to P20. We started with 20, we still have 20 on lap 8 of 29. Fantastic driving from everyone out on track. Remember, the barriers can come awfully close on this circuit. So the fact that we've had no major incidents is pretty impressive. Do have tracks on the calendar that allow for the odd mistake, because they built with so much space, so much runoff in mind. Miami was built to be a street circuit. Strange new trend within Formula One. Of course, a street circuit initially was, you would look at a city, think, we want to race Formula One cars here, what sort of circuit can we make from the roads that already exist? But of course, Miami was not built that way. Miami is a purpose-built street circuit. Of course, this is a parking lot. And this track was built to be this tight. This track was built to have the barriers this close. First ever purpose-built street circuit was Jeddah. Of course, some public roads are used here in Miami. As soon as you get closer to the stadium, it's all purpose-built. Death Queen saying she did drive. She drove on Friday night. Did 5 lappers. 5 lappers on a Friday night. Sounds fun. How did you do there, Death Queen, in the mini Friday night 5-lapper championship? What was the overall position? Death Queen saying she wants a wheel of her own. Visor saying Andre should just dig deep and buy one. That's what you need. 3 wheels in the household. Let's get Death Queen out on track as well. But then we'd lose a viewer. Jonas still out front. Weeze P2, half a second is the gap. 8.2 seconds back. You'll find the best of the rest. It's not a comfortable P3. Skull P3, but he's got the same 2 drivers that were chasing him in the sprint race. Chasing him again, it's Yuno and Levy. A little further back in P6 we've got Sugar Bear. Spikes in P7, Top Gun P8, Pantry Star in P9, and Harsh Cartoon. Well, he's taking the final point as things stand. But for how much longer? Because Smurf comes up the inside, gets there before the corner entry. Does Harsh Cartoon holds on? Thought he was going to try and hold on to that point, but eventually has to give up the position. Harsh Cartoon has gone back up into P10 because somebody's jumped into the pits. Lebby, that was Lebby. Lebby jumped into the pits, and now it's going to be so important. You can come into the pits with an undermind, but if you come out into traffic, into slow traffic, cars that might take you a little longer than you want to clear, well, that's just going to throw hopes of an undercut right out the window. Weeze and Jonas still out on track. They started on hard, so I don't think they're going to be pitting anytime soon. Oh yes, the Moser bundle is cheap. Well, I don't agree with that comment. Of course, anything to do with racing, incredibly expensive, and you used to think that about the real world. Well, it's now starting to translate to the virtual world. Insane what some of this equipment can set you back. In fact, have received a new microphone for this channel, and like I say, we're not using it just yet. We're still using the tiny little microphone on the headset that we've been using since the beginning of the channel. It's more of a professional microphone, but speaking of what these virtual things cost, well, the microphone cost me almost more than the PlayStation. Virtual safety car, lap 12 of 29. Said it was such a clean race. We had all 20 drivers. We've lost 2 of them. Mamonga, driver of the day in your sprint race. He will take no further part in your feature race. And the Doc, the man who started right at the rear of the field, well, he was the first to retire. So we've lost 2 cars. We're down to a virtual safety car. Have a look at your track map and make sure it's really a virtual safety car. We've seen that glitch multiple times on this game where it will tell us it's a virtual, but it's a actual one. There we go. I don't see any safety car on the track, so I think it is just a virtual. Of course, the difference between the virtual and the full. It's virtual just neutralizes things, doesn't bring the whole field back together, and the virtual can end at any moment. You want to make sure you're within your green delta at all times, because if that virtual safety car ends at the wrong moment, you're going to have a very nasty penalty on the other side of it. But nobody's picked up penalties on the restart. So a clean restart. Wees leads from Jonas. You know, in P3 he would have loved a full safety car. That would have worked out perfectly for them. Sugar Bear P4. Spikes in P5. The reason this order is starting to get all mixed up is because the pit lane is starting to get populated. Big T, as he's known, Tian, telling Death Queen just use a controller. Well, she's not interested in using a controller, she wants a wheel. Putting her foot down, putting her demands on the table. You want me to drive for you? Well, here's my demands. Sort of being a Lewis Hamilton about it. I'll drive for your Ferrari, but I want a wheel that looks like a Mercedes wheel. I want a car that operates like a Mercedes. Of course, depending on the driver, there are some drivers on this game that are incredibly quick, and then you find out they're on a controller. Can be quite deflating, especially if your setup is an expensive one and you're on the top of your game. You're racing against someone, matching each other, wheel match after lap after the race. You say, hey, what equipment are you on? I'm just on a standard controller. Ooh, all of a sudden that intense battle feels like you were fighting somebody who didn't have half the tools you did. Not quite sure how the controller guys are as quick as they are. Of course, there was famously an esports driver that before qualifying for esports got very popular on YouTube, doing very quick lap times, but he did all of those lap times on a controller. He then went on to qualify for esports and had to learn how to drive on a wheel, because that is in the esports rulebook that you need to use a wheel as an input. And actually took him quite some time to catch up to his previous pace. So I think regardless of the input, if you're able to master it, if you're able to get 100% out of that input, I don't think it really matters which one you use. Tian saying he would like a direct drive setup, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? You want to talk about money terribly spent? Well, I know one driver who started racing right in the beginning, was towards the back of the field, but started making progress really quickly. First half of his first season, very much towards the rear of the field. Then towards the end of that first season, started scoring points here and there. Second season, very much a midfield driver, consistently in the points. Third season, started getting the occasional podium. Just getting better and better season to season. For season 4, he thought, I'm going all in. I'm going all in. That extra step I need, it's the equipment. This individual went on to spend a total of 65,000 Rand on his new rig. And what if I told you he never completed season 4 and sold all of it? This is Spikes, the driver in P4. Of course, the field now somewhat broken up, somewhat out of order. Some of the cars have already come into the pits. Those are the cars that started on the medium. Sugar Bear was the last of the medium runners that hadn't come into the pits. He's currently in the pits as we speak. You'll be able to make out the difference by looking at the tyres column. The drivers with very few laps on their hard tyres, all those drivers have made pit stops. The drivers with 15 laps on their hard tyres, we're still awaiting them in the pit lane. Jonas leads the way, Wheeze in P2. But remember, they're not just matching each other anywhere out on track, they're matching each other out front. They're 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, matching each other lap after lap. And I promise you, not one of these two drivers is driving within himself or driving within his limits. They're both pushing, and even though they're pushing lap after lap, wheel to wheel action, switching positions, no mistakes, and that's what makes it so impressive to watch. Of course, some of the fans at home would not mind a safety car at this stage in the race, just to bring things back together, close up all these gaps. But as things stand, we do have some pretty big gaps in the field. Looking at the first driver, Levy, I think Levy would be approximately 7 seconds back when those cars ahead of him do eventually pit. Dion talking about the DRS. Definitely the DRS plays a factor. It's simple. If the best lap I am capable of is a 25.5, and I'm able to do a 25.5 on a consistent basis, but the opponent, the driver in front of me, he can do a 25.1. Theoretically, he's quicker than me. He should be disappearing up the road 0.4 of a second per lap. After 10 laps, I probably wouldn't be able to see him because he'd be 4 seconds up the road. But because of DRS, that gap starts to open up. You get to a straight, I open up my rear wing, I close that gap back up to 0.2, and everything that driver is doing at the front of the field to try and open up the gap just gets cancelled out in a matter of a few hundred meters. Of course, overtaking's always been a bit of an issue in Formula 1. When the cars were much smaller, people like to praise the times when the cars were a lot smaller. Well, there were a lot of races back then that didn't have that many overtakes. Then they finally decided, let's add DRS. It'll add so many overtakes, but let's make the cars much bigger. I have no idea why they made the cars much bigger. Small cars, DRS, all the overtaking you want. Jonas and Wees continue to play games amongst each other. 17 seconds up the road. I keep on saying it. They're both on the limit, matching each other. It's impressive. But what's even more impressive is that while doing this, they're pulling away from the field. Jonas into the pits. The gap between him and his nearest rival, 17 seconds when he got to that speed limiter. I think it takes about 20 seconds to get in and out of here, so I think Wees could be leading the way, or it's going to be awfully close. They've been matching each other, so Wees went for the undercut, and I think Wees has gone in front. He might have a bit of a lead. Let's have a look. We just need to wait for those timing sheets to stabilize, and I think they have. 1.1 seconds is the gap between Jonas and Wees. And this next lap for Wees will be crucial. He can extend that gap beyond DRS, make it even bigger, while Jonas is trying to get those tyres up to temperature. Wees will have that 1 lap advantage in tyre temperature. Of course, doesn't count as much in Formula 1 because of things like tyre warming. They keep the temperature up to a decent standard. If you've watched Formula 2 and Formula 3 races where tyre blankets are banned, you can see that the first lap or two out of the pits can be incredibly difficult. And Wees has done exactly what he needed to do. The gap was 1.1 seconds, it's now 1.4 seconds, so he's extended it ever so briefly, but just outside of DRS. Jonas will want to close that to within a second. 3-second penalty, most significant one we've seen this evening because it's one of the top runners. Skull in P5, 3 seconds. That'll definitely hurt his race going forward, and if we have a late safety car, it will hurt his race in a big way. Wees sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's at the front of the field. This is Yuno. I think he was the last hard runner, not the last hard runner, in fact Andre's the last hard runner still to pit. But Yuno goes into the pits, comes out in P5, and he's quite a way behind Skull. Those two cars were quite close together, but after the pit stops they're 3.3 seconds apart. I can see the delay on my own stream. I need to try and make this delay a little less. Saw the penalty a while ago, and I think Death Queen just saw the penalty right now. Ach nee, Scully. Ach nee. For some reason I can't say that without my voice going even deeper. The moment I try to go Afrikaans, it just goes even deeper. Ach nee, ach nee. It's so bad. We still leads the way. 1.2 seconds is the gap, so it's coming down ever so little. It was 1.5 seconds, it's now 1.2. So crucial. If you can get it within the 1 second mark, everything will change. It will become so much easier to follow, so much easier to stay with that driver. At the moment you're just outside of DRS, but you're still getting the dirty air. It's the worst situation to be in. Just outside that 1 second mark. No advantage from DRS, and the disadvantage of the dirty air. Libby now looking very strong for his P3. Skull 7 seconds behind him and carrying a 3-second penalty, so that's more of a 10-second gap between 3 and 4. So Libby just needs to hold on to things. There's not much longer to go in this race. We have had 3 retirements but no safety cars. Lap 21 of 29, maybe the admins secretly switched safety cars off so we could get through this pretty quickly. I'm not sure, but we haven't seen one in the sprint race. We didn't see one in the feature race. And this is Miami. A kind of a street circuit. Has no safety cars. As for street circuits, Miami should be ashamed of itself. Of course, this is where Lando Norris got his first Formula 1 race victory just a year ago. Since then, he's gone on to win 5 Grand Prix. His teammate has also gone on to win 5 Grand Prix. Those have to be the two clear favourites for tonight. But you can never count out Max Verstappen. Of course, those Mercedes and the Williams Mercedes look pretty menacing. It's a little sad that I'm not talking about Ferrari in this potential battle. As for the race tonight, Ferrari is in the battle and it is in podium contention. Levy is in a race of his own. Sometimes it's an enjoyable place to be. Just need to get this car home. I don't need to stress about my mirrors. Don't need to stress about what's in front of me. The gap is simply too big. Other times can be a dangerous place to be in. You can just lose concentration. You're not following anyone on track. You're not looking in your mirrors. You're not under any sort of stress. And you could just fall into this comfortable spot where all of a sudden a corner you've made 100 times before, you're going to find the barrier. So Levy in a race of his own with P3 confirmed. But like we say, he's just got to keep his concentration. Because in a situation like that, that's probably the easiest time to lose concentration. Visor, what is the deal? It's time you came out with it. Visor, what is the deal between you and Harsh Cartoon? They're either great friends who like to bite each other a little bit, or these two have some sort of history out on the racetrack. Because Harsh Cartoon cannot make an appearance without Visor sarcastically supporting him. Is there history out on the racetrack? Something that happened in the past? Something like Ocon and Gasly? Of course, many fights between Ocon and Gasly in the formulas leading up to Formula 1. That's why when they became teammates at Alpine, it raised a few eyebrows, because those two weren't good mates at a stage. Same situation for Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Not great friends before they became teammates. Definitely something cooking in the background between Visor and Harsh Cartoon. Because the only support he shows for Harsh Cartoon is, well, pretty harsh. Wheeze leads the way. That's fantastic. Every now and then the PlayStation's just losing its sound. So Wheeze leads from Jonas for 1/10 of a second. He's just been able to pull him back. Remember that gap. The gap was 1.3 seconds when he came out, 1.1 seconds when he came out of the pits. He was able to extend it to 1.5 seconds. Said it was so important to keep it out of DRS, but since then these two have found each other yet again out on track. Apologies for the PlayStation sound. That is coming from my game, because the microphone is still very much working. So Wheeze, oh, will you look at that, my game sound's gone. So we still leads the way. Jonas in P2, Levy P3, Uno P4. Don't worry, you're not going to have to deal with it for too long. There we go. There we go. The sound's back. Not sure what's going on. Weeze leads from Jonas, Levy in P3. I'm just going to mute this sound. It's starting to annoy me. Skull in P5, Spikes P6, then the two Haas drivers, 7 and 8, double points for Haas on the night would be a great result. Smurf P9, and Top Gun, the final point. Harsh Cartoon has since lost that 1 point. Still no sound coming through from the game. I do apologize. You're going to have to deal with just my voice for the next couple of laps, unless it decides to come back. I'm not in control of what's happening there. I'm not quite sure, but Weeze leads the way. Jonas P2, Levy P3. The gap almost a pit stop worth. 21 seconds between P2 and 3. Fantastic drive by the top two in a race of their own, in a league of their own. They're still in SKR, but they should be in some sort of sub-tier all to themselves. And there we go. I don't know what's going on with the sound. I'm going to mute the sound so it doesn't come back temporarily. Lap 26 of 29. Weeze leads the way from Jonas, Levy P3, Uno P4. Skull P5, but he's got that penalty hanging over his name. 3-second penalty. Sugar Bear 2.3 seconds behind him, so he would snatch that position. And Spikes picks up another 3-second penalty. Oh, and look at that. It's muted and the sound still came back. Technology. Jonas, Weeze, Levy, nothing has changed. The only thing that changes is the order at the front, but the top two, they remain the same. Uno, Skull, Sugar Bear, Spikes, Pantry Star, Smurf, and Top Gun. So your points finishes. Wash Cartoon down another position, was in P11, now down in P12. It's 14 lap old hards, probably not working that well for him anymore. Jonas, Weeze, 21 seconds down to Levy. And then that gap down to P4, it is coming down, but it's not coming down at any sort of alarming rate for the time being. I think Levy does look pretty safe. Pfizer just updating us on the Harsh Cartoon situation. In fact, it's not 1 point. It's 0. Thank you for that, Pfizer. Of course, Pfizer would make a fantastic addition to the comms box with updates like that one. Jonas, Weeze, and Levy, your top three on lap 27 of 29. Of course, it has just gone past 7:15 local time. The real thing, it's going to be starting at 10 p.m. a little bit later tonight. Let me know if you're going to be watching the Miami Grand Prix. Let me know who you're supporting for that Miami Grand Prix. Of course, if you enjoy this Miami Grand Prix, you need to tune in again on Tuesday night, because we're going to be doing this all over again. Some of the drivers you see in the field here tonight, you'll see them again on Tuesday night. And all of those drivers will have had a little bit of extra practice, so they can iron out all the little mistakes from tonight. No mistakes tonight for the top two. Harsh Cartoon responds with, the car does not want to turn. I always knew in some way that Visor was secretly a huge fan of Harsh Cartoon. And that last comment goes on to confirm it. Visor has officially, well, Visor has officially compared Harsh Cartoon to a 7-time world champion. And if anybody says 8, I'm going to time you out. Jonas leads the way from Wheeze. Levy in P3, Uno in P4, Skull P5, then Sugar Bear, then Spikes, Pantry Star P8, Smurf P9, and Top Gun. That final point. Do have a few drivers in the field with penalties. Let's just bring up that penalty screen so we can see if there's anything serious. Penalties for Skull and Spikes in the midfield, 6 and 7, it's 3 seconds apiece. Then a 3-second penalty for the man with 1 point. That's Top Gun. Does have a 3.5-second gap down to Martin, so he might be able to hold on to that point. 10 seconds for Dispatcher, 6 seconds for Revolution. But they're outside the points, so it won't make too much difference to them. Back to the tyre screen one last time. Let's ride with Jonas and Wheeze for the final lap. One more time, lap 29 of 29. They matched each other in quali. It was a one-shot quali, oh so close. Sprint race, matched each other from the beginning to the end. Feature race, matched each other from the beginning to the end. They're inseparable. They're P1 and 2 in the championship. They're P1 and 2 on the racetrack. And they're going to be P1 and 2 again in the results on a Sunday night. Who is going to step up? And who is going to stop these two from running away with the SKR Season 11 Championship? Have a quick look at the Drivers' Championship, not including tonight's race. Wheeze 158, Jonas 114, so there is quite the difference. Jonas would love to be the victor tonight because he could close that gap somewhat. But I think Wheeze has done enough to go over the line in P1. And confirmation over the checkered flag, a gap of 0.4 of a second. Wheeze takes the victory from Jonas. And look how far down the road the Ferrari is. This is the man in P3. Feels like we have to wait an age for him. But that's just how far the other two were. Levy over the line for a comfortable P3. Almost loses it there on the exit, but gets the checkered flag easily. Uno, checkered flag P4. We wait for Spikes. He was one of the drivers with a penalty. He loses that position to Sugar Bear. Skull also down to P7 due to that penalty. Pantry Star P8, Smurf P9, and the final point going the way of Top Gun. Nice saying, simply lovely, I'll tell you that. There's nothing easy about that race. Max Verstappen usually says simply lovely when he found the race to be quite easy. Nothing easy about that. Wheeze. And right till the end, Jonas would have thought he was in with a great chance. Sugar Bear takes the driver of the day for the feature race. And now we just wait for those final results. After all the penalties have played their part, let's just, well, that's the weekend results. Let's bring up the race results. There we go. Wheeze takes victory. Jonas P2, Levy P3, best of the rest drive from him. Then Uno in P4, Sugar Bear picks up points for P5, Spikes P6, Skull P7, Pantry Star P8, Smurf P9, and Top Gun takes the final point. No points on the night, but they were able to bring the car home. Martin P11, Osman P12, Harsh Cartoon lost another position, went down to P13. JP, such a strong sprint race. Things didn't go his way in the feature race. P14, then Dispatcher 15, Andre 16, Revolution 17. And then we have a DNF's column with 3 drivers. Cypher, driver of the day from the sprint race, Mamonga. And our first retirement, the Doc. Oh no, I've been drowned out by the sound of V8s. So there we go. That is the end of season 11, round 8 for SKR. Of course, it was a fantastic race. It was a sprint night, so we didn't have that normal format, that format of a short qualifying session. No, we just had the one-shot quali. Drivers had barely any time to get ready. One-shot quali, you got one chance, you run wide in one corner, and that's the end of that. So drivers had their sprint race. Weeze and Jonas, they were the favourites. Drivers had the feature race. Weeze and Jonas smashed each other to the end, and they kept the trend going of what we've seen throughout this championship. Well, of course, I have to thank everybody who watched the stream, everybody who was here from the very beginning and left a like on the video, contributed by talking in the comment section, having a little bit of fun, having a little bit of banter. It was great to have you. Of course, later on tonight, in about an hour and 2.5 hours from now, we'll be having the in real life Miami GP. I hope all of you will be watching, and let me know who you'll be supporting. Of course, we'll be live for the next couple of minutes. We're going to put some music on in the background, and I will see you all tomorrow night for League v League. Of course, in fact, we've been having the leagues decide the venues. Tomorrow we know where we're going. Tomorrow we're going to Brazil for League v League, so tune in for that. If you enjoy Interlagos and you want to see some good racing, SKR versus LSA 4QM8 and Fusion Racing. And then, of course, on Tuesday, more of this, more of what you saw tonight. It's going to be a sprint Miami round, similar format, a lot of the same drivers, and hopefully all of the same viewers. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Until then, enjoy the race, and cheers.
Like a shooting star, the engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR, the rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR. Calls to play on NFR every race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd.
It's broken! It's broken!
Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end.
I am stupid. I am stupid. I switch off everything.
Calls to play on NFR race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR,
It's broken!
burning
It's
tracks,
broken!
driving far, where the races never end. NFR, our only friend. Deaf Queen, the top supporter scene in the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
Let me spin you a tale about a race car driver, George Russell by name. He's quick on the track, but don't get too excited, cause when it comes to greatness, well, he's not quite knighted. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry.
God, it's broken. It's broken.
He's got the helmet, he's got the car, but when it comes to win, he's not quite up to par. He's got the look like Woody with a cowboy hat, but when he's in the pit, you'll see him shed a tear stack. Now don't get me wrong, he's got some skill, but when you're talking about the best, he's not in that mill. He'll race you hard, give you quite the fright, but in the end, he's more known for his tears at night. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run.
In the quiet lanes of Silverstone town, folks are whispering about a boy falling down. Got a seat from his daddy, money's the king. Driving that Williams ain't like riding free. Tires spin, engines roar, but the podium's far. His wheels hit the gravel, now there's damage to the car. Got the world at his feet, yet he fumbles the lead. His dreams race away, but he's not in the speed. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name that can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Now he's got his own team with a famous name. Aston Martin's the brand, but it's still the same shame. Every corner, every turn, the crashes unfold. Dreams wrapped in carbon fiber, truth left untold. Paddock folks shake their heads with a sigh as the green car spins and the hopes run dry. No matter the funds, it's a harsh game of pain. $1 million toys can't shelter the rain. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill.